was a family physician. You can specify what physician it was.
Okay.
If it was advertising, you can actually specify what ad in what newspaper on what date generated this patient.
Okay.
And obviously, one of the things that we can do with this data is that we can provide a referral source report that will show exactly how many patients were generated from each of these different referral sources, how many hearing aids they bought, and how much revenue was generated.
Sure.
So if they want to track the effectiveness of their marketing activities, it makes it very, very easy for tracking purposes. The second area, grouping, the user can define their own groups, and then they can assign a patient to one or several groups.
Okay.
And this can be used for all different kinds of things, and people kind of get very creative when it comes to using this. So, for instance, if they run a battery club, they can assign a patient to a battery club. In this case, if they give out a loaner hearing aid to a patient, they can assign it to the loaner group. So that way they always know who has a loaner hearing aid. And when they get the hearing aid back, they just remove it from the loaner group.
Okay. Is there any limitations on the number of groups you can create?
No.
Okay.
They can go completely crazy on this. But this is a very nice feature because it allows them to profile or segment certain patients. So it's a very effective tool.
Yeah.
Just some check boxes down here for people we don't want to mail to, or people that have credit issues. And then the last area over here is basically what mailings have sent to the specific patient.
Okay.
The last screen is basically just any money transaction associated with this patient. So sales, payments, so on. Credit returns, that's not on this patient, but open balance, that's what that indicates right there.
Okay.
So that's basically the quick overview of the data that we manage on a patient level.
Okay, it's quite good. It's very, very similar to Cycle, with a couple of extra benefits.
Yeah, I think that the user interface is a little nicer than the Cycle. So
yeah. Okay.
So that's at least what we hear from people that have switched from Cycle to this. So.
Okay.
All right. So let's try to sell a hearing aid. So let's see if I can find another patient that doesn't have 3 hearing aids already. So. Betty White. She only has 1 hearing aid. All right, we can sell her left hearing aid. All right. So I'm going to go to the shopping cart up here. I click on that. And that will bring up my hearing aid catalog. So this is a catalog that we provide. Each clinic obviously needs to manage their own pricing.
Sure.
So this can be a pretty long list. If I just want to limit this list to a specific manufacturer, I can do that.
Okay.
So now I'm only looking at, so for instance, if I want a Passport BTE Moxie, and this was for the left ear, I can put in a color here, any, like in this case, standard receiver. Okay. So I click on next. So here's my hearing aid chart. Mm-hmm. If I want to add other charges to the patient invoice, I can pick from these 3 catalogs over here on the right. So if I need to put accessories or any service items, so if I charge separate for a fitting fee, I can do that. And then I click on next. You can create a quote for the patient, kind of like an estimate. What is this going to cost you?
Okay.
So, and this is what that's going to look like. And this would be the clinic logo up here. So, once I'm ready to save the order, go ahead and save it. it allows you also to print a manufacturer order form. This is for BT, so this doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And now we have this passport sitting up here with status ordered. I also have a ordered function over here on the left panel. So if I click on that, this is basically a list of all my pending orders, both new and repair orders. So this way I can manage what I kind of have work in progress.
Okay.
So, you also have a number of different options now that you can take specific to this order. So, for instance, one of the more popular ones is maybe to generate a purchase agreement. This is, I think some of our clients in the UK use this, but this is basically like a contract between the clinic and the patient.
Okay.
So it is this is my generic contract, but we typically use client-specific contracts, and then we just superimpose all the relevant data onto that. So in this case, I superimpose the name and address and so some other stuff.
Okay.
Right. So it's just one of those small things that that will save you a minute here and there, and it make your agreements look more professional.
Okay.
So I'm gonna right-click in this case also and say receive the hearing aid, and that will ask me for the serial number, and then it will ask me for the battery size. It will ask me for warranty expiration date, and it could look something like that. And then the invoice amount is how much I paid for this.
Okay.
So it's $5.95, and that way you can keep track of your cost of goods specifics to each patient.
Okay.
All right, so you got received, and then the last step is to deliver the hearing, which just takes me back to review the invoice process. In this case, I can just go ahead and say create an invoice, and that brings up my invoice right there.
Okay.
If I want to take a payment, which is always a good idea, I can do that. I can take a partial payment, or I can take a full payment. So in this case, I'm just going to take a full payment on a Visa card, save that, and I will update the invoice to reflect the payment and the new amount due.
Okay. How does it handle VAT and taxes? Can you have customize the tax levels?
Yeah. So actually, I don't know if you noticed, but let me go back here on this sale, and then on sales history, and I'm bringing up the sale by clicking on it, and I'm going to generate the invoice again.
Mm-hmm.
There was, in this case, I had tax.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, in this setup, the hearing aid is tax exempt, but the fitting fee is taxable.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
But that can all be configured down to each item. All right. So, and so now also this order disappeared off my pending order list, so I can close that down. I want to take a trip over to QuickBooks here because this transaction that we just generated for Betty White, I'm going to go up to my customer center, and I'm going to go down and try and locate Betty White.
There she is.
Okay. There she is, yeah. So now here you see, here's actually the invoice that we just created.
Okay.
For a hearing aid, a passport, BCE marks for the left ear, the number such and such, sold in my Weatherfield office. A payment applied and balance due. So this posted automatically and in real time. So you don't need to download any transaction. You don't need to do it as a batch posting or anything like that. It just happens real time. And you don't need QuickBooks running on the computer that you're doing the sales transaction on.
Okay.
So you can have a multi-office setup, so an Office A and an Office B. And in Office A, there's a computer that runs BluePrint and QuickBooks, and that creates a link between the two. When they sell a pack of batteries out in Office B, the transaction is transferred to the data center. The QuickBooks computer in Office A see that there's a new transaction, it downloads it and posts it to QuickBooks. So
right, okay.
that's basic. That's one of the benefits of using this type of technology, because there's a lot of scenarios where, for various reasons, they don't want their staff to have access to their QuickBooks.
Yeah.
And this way you can actually conduct all the transactions between the clinic and the patient without having to have QuickBooks.
Right, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
What about if at the end of each month can you close the accounts down so that they can't go in and make amends to invoices, or can't they make amends to invoices anyway? One of the things we used to find was people would go in and they would make a change to an invoice, they'd change a price, they'd add a product, or they'd remove a product.
Yeah. First of all, once an invoice is paid in full, you can't make changes to it.
Okay.
You can return it altogether, but you can't make changes to it. If you close out the month in QuickBooks, that will prevent you from regenerating it as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of controlled on the QuickBooks side.
Okay.
Okay. That's any question. I mean, that's another sale button over here, and that's just for selling other services and items.
Okay.
It's very similar to the hearing aid side, except that you skip the first page where you specify the hearing aid. Otherwise, it's exactly the same.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay. One of the very important part of BluePrint is the marketing function.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this system needs to pay for itself and increase the revenue. That, or also in savings from an administrative point of view. So I'm just going to click on marketing in this case. And in here, you have the ability to define or create marketing campaigns, basically mailing. I'm just going to recycle an existing one here. So, and then let's clean this up. And then you have a tab in here where you can specify the selection criteria. Basically, what patients are you targeting? We do provide some predefined templates for things like all active clients, like newsletters, Christmas cards.
Sure.
There's a template for birthday cards. There's one for warranty letters. A couple of other ones. One here for a patient that was tested and they have a hearing loss, but they didn't buy a hearing aid.
Yeah.
So that way we can keep track of those, make sure that they don't get away.
Okay.
So most basic, simple thing to do is all active clients. Let me just try that. This is for my newsletter. I've got 218 patients that are active in my database. Go over here, take a look at who those patients are. And then the next step is always to determine what is my output format.
Yeah.
And you got a bunch of different options. You can print envelopes. You can export to Excel. So in case you want to do your own mail merges, you can do that.
Okay.
You can use predefined letters, or what I want to do in this case is I want to just print labels.
Okay.
Because it's a pre-printed newsletter. So here's my labels. So I put the label sheet in, click print, and I'm ready to go.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Right. Try something a little bit more complicated. So warranty letters, and this template basically just asks for date range. So this is the date range for when the warranty expires. And let me just, I think in order for me to get any data, I need to go 5 months or something like that. But typically what we recommend is that people, go 1 month at a time. So in the middle of the current month, you mail all the patients that have a hearing aid with where there's a warranty expiring next month, because that's who this would be relevant to.
Sure.
So once you have your list, and you can manage the list manually also, you can determine your output. And in this case, I already have